This video is going to show you how to repair the Sennheiser headphones. As you can see here, the cable that goes into the right hand side headphone is damaged. So what we're going to have to do is basically resolder this cable back onto the circuitry that is inside this right hand side headphone. So the first part we're going to start with is we have to pull this part off in order to get access to the screws. And this simply pulls off like this. Kind of look in here. There you go. So essentially what's held by little clips in here and just simply attaches. This ring simply attaches in here. So this gives us now access to the 4 screws. So that's one here, and then 2 over there. So the next step we're going to do is basically just unscrew those screws here. And forth. So this should now allow us to pull this part out. There you go. So essentially what we're going to have to do now is take this cable here that comes in here. So this cable here, we're going to basically shorten, cut it here, and then run it over here and just solder it onto the headphones here. Next, we're going to just cut this cable off here, since we are going to have to rebuild this. There you go. This out. And now, if you're going to look closely here, this was basically just holding in this cable, so now we could just push it out. And this removes the cable. So what we're left with now is just the headphone speaker in this cable. So what I'm going to try and do is split this part open so I can reuse it with the new cable. I'm going to unsolder now the cables. Here's one, the other, and if you note here, this is the positive, this is the negative, and it's also marked here. You see, here's the positive, and obviously the negative is not marked. Okay, so we got the cable out, but not the insulation part. So I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit still. There's still a bit left here. If you can see this. There you go, we're getting a good part out now. There you go. We're going to just clean up the ends here. Okay, so here's one connector, or one cable. Let's do the other one. If you look up really closely, let's try and zoom in on this. There you go, that's ready. Okay, one thing I gotta do is obviously run the cable through the housing of the headphones. So I'm gonna just take this apart one more time for a moment. Running the cable through here. Let's see if the knot's gonna make it through or not. Yep, it did. Then I'm going to reattach this here. And I'm going to push it back in. We're going to put this little metal holder up here. Okay, now we're going to solder back. Okay. Now before I assemble everything, I'm gonna basically quickly test that everything's working as it's supposed to. So the way I'm gonna test this is with the multimeter. I'm gonna basically set it to the continuity test, and when I short the connectors, it actually gives me an audio sound that I have conductivity. So let's give it a try. So this is how we test it. So now if I put the connectors across this, it is not giving me the short, obviously, because there's a resistance from the little speaker in the headphones. But if I put one end here, which is the ground, and this one is the ground here, I see that it's connecting. And so let's see now, it's either going to be left or right here. So okay, this one I got continuity, and the end I do not. So essentially it's this middle conductor here is connecting to this here. So it looks like the soldering part was done as expected, and now the last piece we're going to do is just put it back together. So as you can see, there's the cable goes through here, and then I have to fit this piece in here. We put the screws back in. So here's one. So it's this part. Now one thing you'll notice is that obviously as I shorten one of the cables, this will be asymmetric. If that bothers you, you'd have to do the same procedure that I did on the right hand side. You'd have to also do it on the left hand side and shorten the cable, and then split this further back down. But it's really, you know, up to you. If that's something that's important to you, you can do that. There you go, putting this piece back on. Then the way that I did this is, show you this really quickly. Go back to the top, it just comes out at the top, goes in, push it in, and then you slide it back down. And the last piece we got to do is put this back on. And remember, this just pushed on. Here are the little clips that hold this. There you go. It's holding now. And this completes the job. Last thing we're going to do is just test it. Okay, so I plugged in the headphones now into the player. Let's start the music. There you go. Both are playing. Perfect. So job completed.